Listen and love deeply, the secret to true connection. Imagine a quiet room bathed in soft golden light, where dust motes dance lazily in the air. A conversation hangs there, unspoken yet thunderous, between two people sitting across from each other. One looks out the window, their eyes tracing the outline of the setting sun, while the other fidgets with their hands, glancing occasionally, hoping for a word that could untangle the knot between them. In this space, silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's a battlefield of thoughts. And within this battlefield, love whispers, soft, unwavering, patient. It says, listen not with the debate in your mind but with the love in your heart. Hear me not to respond but to understand. Can you do that for me? The question lingers, weightless but heavy, like a feather with a secret. You see, to love someone deeply is not always to agree with them, but to open yourself wide enough to hold their truths alongside your own. It's not easy. Oh, how the mind loves to argue. The ego crafts rebuttals before the heart even has a chance to speak. Think about it. When was the last time you listened without the need to be right? Without the urge to justify or explain? Instead, when was the last time you let the words settle like raindrops on thirsty soil, nourishing the connection between you and the one you love? There's a chuckle that bubbles up at the thought because, let's face it, humans are delightfully stubborn creatures. Of course I love you, we say, but that love often gets lost in the shuffle of everyday distractions. Yet, love, true love, doesn't demand grand gestures. It doesn't need fireworks or fanfare. It only asks that you believe in it, that you trust it to anchor you in the storm. The room in our story suddenly feels smaller, not in a suffocating way, but in a way that magnifies the space between hearts. Of course I love you, one finally says, their voice trembling yet firm. More than the moon, the stars, and life itself. But I need you to know, I'm not perfect. The words land not as an apology but as a plea, raw and unfiltered. They continue, I don't have all the answers. I'm clumsy with my emotions. Sometimes I argue when I should listen, and sometimes I let my pride get in the way. But if there's one thing I know, it's that I love you. And I ask only one thing in return, that you love me back and believe in that love, even when I stumble. It's a confession, but also a truth we all carry, isn't it? The longing to be seen as we are, imperfect but loving. To be cherished not for our lack of flaws, but for the effort we put into holding someone else's heart. And then comes the punchline, the crack in the emotional dam. Thank you, they add, a sheepish grin breaking the tension, for not asking me to be perfect. I'd make a terrible perfect person, but I promise to be a loving one. The room softens, the air somehow lighter. They both laugh, the kind of laugh that feels like an exhale after holding your breath for too long. Well, the other says, I didn't fall in love with perfect. I fell in love with you, the you that argues over how to load the dishwasher and still looks at me like I hung the stars. In that moment, love isn't just a word or a feeling, it's a promise. A promise to meet each other in the messy, complicated middle, to listen even when it's hard, to forgive even when it hurts. They sit a little closer now, shoulders almost touching, the silence between them no longer a battlefield but a sanctuary. Outside, the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and pink. It's as if the universe itself is saying, see, beauty is found not in perfection, but in the way we show up for one another. Love, they realize, isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. It's not about fixing every problem but about holding space for each other's humanity. Listening not to argue but to understand. Loving not to control but to set free. As they sit there, they feel it, their hearts beating in quiet rhythm, not in unison but in harmony. And isn't that what love is? Not two people becoming one, but two souls learning to dance to the same song, each bringing their own steps, their own stumbles, their own grace. So, the next time you find yourself in that quiet room, staring at the spaces where love and imperfection meet, remember this: Listen with the love in your heart, not the debate in your head. Love not to be perfect, but to be loving. And when the weight of the world feels too heavy, let those 6 words carry you. Of course I love you. And as you breathe those words, let them remind you that love, in all its messy, flawed beauty, is enough. It is always enough. Thank you for helping us spread love.